Hi there, thank you for joining me on FernCrafts. I'm Christine and I welcome you to my channel. Today is March the 30th, 2019, and last week I had said that I would post a repotting video sometime during the week, but never really got around to it. So here's another shot of my Psychopsis that I showed you last week, and it is looking beautiful. Right now all of the blooms are open and they smell fantastic. It's very bright and a refreshing smell in a very gloomy day outside today. So it is really nice. As promised, here is the repotting video, and I hope you enjoy it. Today we're going to be doing a repot, and this is the first time I'm going to be repotting this Psychopsis. I don't see a label on it, but it is just the basic Psychopsis. Anyways, now is a good time to repot it because it's in between blooms. So Psychopsis, as most of you probably know, are sequential bloomers, and that means that there is a flower, not a spike, a flower bud forming behind while one is in bloom, and so that one has now just fallen off today, and there is the next bud forming, and it'll be a while before it comes into bloom. So now is the perfect time to repot this orchid because it's been in this pot since I got it, and you can see that the sphagnum moss is starting to discolor. It's going into a very dark color, and you just want a clean repot. With Psychopsis, you never cut out the spike because it takes forever and a half to regrow a spike, and usually I have never seen one bloom or put out a spike in my care. This is my second Psychopsis, and the first one I just managed to kill by overwatering. So you got to be careful with that too. But I have to say that it likes it in the sphagnum moss because you just want to keep it not wet but damp, and water it before the moss dries out completely. So in my care, it's managed to put out a new pseudobulb, and you can see some nice roots there that are forming, and those need to be covered, and you know, to give this orchid a good chance at growing well. So the first thing I want to do, which I have tried to do off screen, so it's just a little bit easier for me, is to remove this plastic pot that now doesn't want to seem to come off. There we go. All right, there. And next I'm gonna just soak this orchid just up till here, not going up into the crown, just up till here, and soak it for a while so that it will just loosen up the sphagnum moss, because it is pretty tight, and you know, it just needs to be loosened up so that I'm not damaging roots if they are good. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. Just going to let it soak with just about this much of water from the bottom, obviously. Just let it soak in there for a bit, and I'll come back to you once I can get the sphagnum moss off. Okay, and now I've soaked it very well. It's still a little tight here, but I'm going to tease away as much of the sphagnum moss as I can, and I will get back to you. So yeah, just take it out very gently, and use some sort of tweezers or something if you have to, but just to take away all of the sphagnum moss so I can see what I'm left with. So I'll get back to you. Okay guys, so just excuse the mess here, but all of this is what came out of that, the sphagnum moss that was in there, and you can see it's very discolored. I cut away a lot of the dead root. There's still some more there, but I'm going to leave it at this for now. Maybe trim off just a few more, and that's it. So I've given it a good wash, but what I wanted to point out is all the while be very careful of the new growing tips, and you might be able to see that I've cut off a root there by mistake. So yeah, you have to be really careful, and it's It is a little hard because it was so packed in and you know, sort of root bound and very tightly packed in with the sphagnum moss. So I had to tease it away. It took me almost 45 minutes to do that. So I've done that. I've been careful not to damage these root tips, and I'm gonna let it just dry a little bit because I've given it a good wash, and I've actually hosed it down with the jet spray in my faucet, just to try and get away any of the sphagnum moss that was clinging onto the roots. So next, after I let it dry a little bit, I'm just going to pot it up again in some fresh media. So I'll be right back. Okay, please excuse the messy workstation here, but I have clay pellets that I have boiled and kept ready, sterilized basically. I have sterilized and kept ready. I have sphagnum moss that I'm also going to be using, and some bark mix that you can see a little bit here, and I have more off screen as well. So this is a pot that I'm going to be using. It's got one of those air cones on the bottom, lots of ventilation as well as drainage, and slits for the drainage and ventilation, and it's a good size. It's a size up from what it was in, and just a few more clay pellets in here as well. So let me just put the clay beads, the clay pellets on the bottom, and the reason I do that is so that the roots are not sitting right at the end, and it allows for drainage, but at the same time the roots are not too close to the bottom. Alright, and I'm trying to do this one-handed. I really should be using a tripod, but let me try and just do this one-handed. Here is my stake, and here is the plant that I'm going to sink in very slowly. And I just noticed that there is some material that I can remove. And when I do that, I have to be careful to center the orchid. And what I don't want to do is, and the reason I'm centering the orchid is because these pseudobulbs can grow in just any direction. It's not directional like Oncidium or Cattleya. They can grow all around, and so I'm just trying to keep the roots as loose as possible, and it'll probably come up higher to about this height here, just to show you. So I would need to fill it in, so you can see that there's lots of room inside there, and I'm going to fill that in with sphagnum moss, and I will get back to you. Okay, and there you can see I have put in well, I hope you can see that. I had the clay pellets on the bottom. I topped it up with a little bit of the bark mix, then some sphagnum moss, and then I topped it. I just dressed it on the top with more of the bark mix. And this is medium bark vase. And this I got from Raven Vision in Canada. So here is the bag, and you can see it's called the Custom Orchid Media Mix Medium Bark Base. And it is a really good mix because it's got the perlite in there and then bark. And that's what I've used. And I used the sphagnum moss just to hold in some moisture because the Psychopsis doesn't like to dry out completely, so you want to keep it damp and not soaking wet as usual. So there you go, folks. I can't show you the top of the orchid, it's just way too tall. I haven't watered this pot as yet. However, because the orchid has been watered, it should be good for now. I'm going to let it settle for a day or two before I water it, and maybe wipe down the leaves a little bit just to clean it up a little. And then what I decided was that because this pot is a little flimsy, as in it moves around a little bit, I'm going to just set it into this heavier glass pot, or glass vase really, and just add a little bit of water at the bottom so it doesn't dry out completely, and that should help with the moisture for the orchid. So there you go, folks. I'll just give this orchid a nice clean and a watering maybe after about a day or two, once I let the medium settle down just a little bit. And yeah, so that's where the Psychopsis new home is. So thanks again for watching, and for those of you who haven't done so already, do subscribe and hit that little notification bell so you'll be the first to know when I upload a video. Until next time, enjoy your orchids. Bye bye.